Hello, I'm not Kenny Joya, but I'm giving you a small overview of Latch Preview from a mixer's point of view. Now, I will assume you know a little bit about what the automation modes do, so I won't cover the basics. Some things we do need to cover, which a lot of people seem to leave out, is the automation preferences. Let's take a look. Now, a lot of these are really important. If you're going to work with Preview and you don't want to arm anything in advance, then this little checkbox here is important. Automatically add envelopes when tweaking parameters and automation write modes. This includes Latch Preview. So have this checked, so everything you touch in a writing mode automatically gets added as an envelope and is armed straight away. Display read automation feedback is of course really useful if you want any feedback at all from the playback. So it's confidence monitoring essentially. Then allow writing automation to hidden envelopes is absolutely important, because if you have an EQ and you've got 12 lanes on every track, or maybe even 20 or 30, then you don't really want to have to see them all the time to use them, to write to them. This one here is a personal preference of mine. Reduce envelope point data. It has not let me down yet, though I think it is a bit strong. So you might want to check if that's okay with you. I write so much automation that I generally keep this on, so it kind of keeps the project size down a little bit. The next one is really important. When recording automation and stopped. This is a drop-down menu here. Now I got add points before and after edit position because I like to twist the knobs in latch mode, and it starts writing some little points that you can do. Some people like to have it on add additional points before edit position. That means you can basically go step by, it's like a step sequencer for automation. You can go step by step and turn the knobs a little bit, and it'll influence everything after that. If you don't have any other automation after that, if you do have it, then it goes to it in a straight line, which is exactly what I don't want. So I have this add points before and after edit position, so I can always be sure I'm just writing to that particular area and I don't have a straight line going from the point I'm just editing right now up to a point that might be somewhere outside the range of where I want to write. And so there's always a little point coming after that when I twist the knobs, which is easy to see if you show the envelope lane and just do a little editing yourself in Latch or Write or even Touch mode. Okay, the next one. When adding volume pan envelopes, apply trim to envelope and reset trim. I usually keep this on, so I always get the trim and the actual trim value. You do realize the volume envelope has actually two controls. One is the so-called trim volume, which is static, it's not automatable, and the other one is the actual automatable volume control, which is always indicated when you switch to read, touch, latch, or even write mode. I mean, write mode doesn't display any feedback from what's already there, it just plows over everything. So touch, latch, and latch preview, and of course read mode. So when you switch from just having the trim read mode, which is the default, into one of these writing modes and start writing something, then the original read trim mode fader gets reset, and the value it had is applied to the envelope as a basis. So I always keep that on. Just try it out and see what you prefer. After recording automation write mode on repeat stop, yes, I like to loop around if I'm using write mode. So I keep this in this. And this is one of the most important ones down here. Reset latch state when looping. I loop around a lot. I do it in latch mode, and I want to have the values keep staying the way they are, the way I set them. I don't want them if this is turned on, then it will start reading back from the envelopes again, and whatever I latched, so to speak, whatever I touched is reset when the transport loops, when the loop is, when it loops around to the start. This even happens in Latch Preview, so be very careful. This has to stay off if you're going to use Latch Preview in any meaningful way, because this doesn't just apply to looping, it applies to start and stopping as well. So if you stop your transport, you lose your latches. Okay, let's see now what Latch Preview actually looks like. I've got a little sound design thing here I just did yesterday for an esports cast. Let's take a look. Okay, this is just a little piece. Now, Latch Preview is basically like Latch, except it doesn't write anything. You have to do the writing yourself manually with the actions. That's the basic thing. Okay, let's see. We'll switch everything to read. Now the volume is not automated. Let's switch to preview everything. Now we can just touch stuff. Let's bring up the volume envelope for a second here. We'll just add a few points just to be sure. As you can see, I'm playing back. No, nothing is being written. We'll just keep this down a little bit. Nothing is being written. We're in preview. We're in Latch Preview mode. Don't forget, Latch Preview. If we go back to read mode, you see the fader jump. Just we'll do a little point automation here. The fader follows it. Great. Now we switch to preview mode, as is indicated by this slightly ambiguous coloring. Still following it. Great. Now we'll just loop around it a bit. Now we grab onto it. It stays the same, but it doesn't write anything. We can stop the transport, relocate, stays the same. Let's do it a little louder. Let's say we want to write this value. So we just select our area and we use let me just bring this up. Actively writing. I've got this set to this one here. Write current values for actively writing envelopes and time selection. This only means everything that is latched, everything that you've touched will be written to now, nothing else. So we'll run this. As you can see, it's there. But of course, the preview is still active. Now, in Pro Tools, it jumps out of preview mode automatically. It doesn't do that in Reaper, and we have to do that manually ourselves. So if we play it back, we can still play around with it. It'll still do its thing. We actually have to switch back to read mode. One other method is, let's do another volume change here. Switch to preview. Do a little quiet there. Is to so-called match out. And now match out is achieved with, I've got a couple of shortcuts set to this, is achieved by combining two actions. It is done with global automation, all automation read mode, and then disabling the override again. This action and then this action. Now what happens then is it switches to read globally. So it starts reading everything again, and the effect of that is it clears all the latches. Everything you've touched is cleared away. Then you simply switch back to, let's see, where is it? I don't usually use it this way. No global override, there we go. Boop. And we're back into preview mode, but this time, as you can see, the volume is no longer highlighted as being latched. If I touch it again, it will be latched again. See, it turned red. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's go, let's match out again. And I put this on a shortcut, so it's, I write something, I match out, and then I move on to the next thing. So let's do a quick thing where we want to do something with an EQ. I've got an equalizer here on this channel, on this track, sorry. Let's see what we can do with it. I've got some controls here. I want to take a little bit of a bass out of here. Okay. Now, as you can see, a couple of envelopes have popped up. This is because in the preferences, I had this here. Automatically add envelopes when tweaking parameters in automation write modes. Because it includes Latch Preview, the envelopes now pop up. If you want to commit to these settings, you've got to write them yourself. So let's do this. As you can see, some of these parameters, that's why I actually put them here in the parameter knob section here of the MCP, are highlighted as being latched. Red means they're latched. They're being written to, and Latch Preview, of course, they're not. They're just latched without writing anything. So we can decide, well, what does it sound like over here? Okay, let's check it. This one over here. Okay, we like it maybe over there, but we only want to write it here. Let's select the area. We'll run this and close. And that's it. As you can see, the automation points have been written. Let's zoom in a little bit. There's a transition time here. There's an automation point there. It added outside the time selection and one exactly on the time selection edge. The same thing happened on the other side. Now, this is the time you can set in the automation preferences right here. I set it to 26 milliseconds, which is about 2 buffers of my current buffer length of 256 samples. You can set it to whatever you like. I just set it to something so it's not completely sudden. Some of the values are still latched. Let's match out, and that's it. We'll hide all the envelopes as well. I've got something on my keyboard set to that because they keep popping up. I always have to hide them. I'll do a little something else over here. Everything's still in preview mode. I'll switch to read preview. See, if you've got keyboard shortcuts, you can do this globally so quickly. Yeah, okay, that's not too bad. Let's write this. Let's write it over here as well. Match out, and that was it. That's basically it for Latch Preview. The usual workflow will be you switch to preview mode, you start twisting your knobs. You can be sure that nothing on your envelope lanes has changed. You write the changes where you want them to happen, and then you match out to either reset the preview mode or you just switch everything to read mode, and you'll be fine. This way you can mix dialogue, effects and everything very, very quickly. I mixed this stuff here in a couple of minutes. So everything is a lot easier these days. And I'm quite happy with it, I have to say. I've been mixing about 20 shows with this so far, with Latch Preview since it came out. And I've had a pretty good time with it. I hope you do too. Hope this helps you. Take care and have fun. Bye-bye.